languages. Do you know?
Yes, I know it is knowledge.
Knowledge is defined as facts, information and skills learnt through experience and education. It is also defined as an awareness or familiarity gained by experience.
The power of knowledge has the ability to change lives. Knowledge can help us grow in confidence, skills and ability.
Knowledge helps us to learn each and every day. However, learning and gaining knowledge takes time and effort.
Some people say that something is beginning to dawn on me when they are beginning to develop some new understanding or knowledge. It might take more time or less time for this to happen, but it is so important to always keep trying to get more knowledge.
We all know that learning and developing knowledge takes a lot of practice and some things are very tricky for people. For example, some people struggle with knowing their 7 times tables, some people struggle with knowing their sounds in phonics, and some people struggle with knowing how to do a forward roll.
When learning is difficult, it is important to remember to use resources that will help you and ask for some support and explanation. Asking questions helps us to develop our knowledge and understanding of something. It is always good to ask questions, even if they are sometimes difficult to answer. By asking questions, we can gain new knowledge, deepen our understanding, and learn to think things through and come to a decision.
What does the word knowledge make you think of?
Well, the word knowledge makes me think of lots of things, Sophie. I think the main thing it makes me think of is things that you know and things that you need to know. So you have knowledge for different things, so you might need knowledge for your job or knowledge in your lessons at school, or it might be knowledge of a place if you're going to visit a place, or knowledge of your faith. So it makes me think of the things that you need to know for a different aspect of your life.
How have you used knowledge in your life?
I'd like to think I've used knowledge a lot in my life, Sophie, but some people may disagree, and there's sometimes that I have made the wrong decision based on false knowledge, I suppose. And there's a saying that says knowledge is power. Have you heard of that saying before?
I think
Yeah, it's quite an old saying, knowledge is power. And I think that's really true. Knowledge is power, as long as you use that knowledge properly. So if you get a piece of knowledge about, as we were saying before, a place, then it's quite powerful to be able to understand that place and the culture, and it means that it impacts your visit to that place. If you have knowledge about maths or English, that's really powerful because that helps you to learn and helps you when you're in the shop or when you're writing a letter. But if you have knowledge about something and then you don't use that in the correct way, so if you had knowledge about something that they weren't very pleased that they'd done, they weren't very proud of, and you had knowledge of that and you used that against someone, then that's not a good use of knowledge. So I think it's really important to make sure that we're using knowledge in the right way, and knowledge is very powerful as long as we use it for the good. And I'd like to think that I use my knowledge of my faith to spread the good news to everyone I meet and to teach the children in our school about our faith, and also my knowledge of Jesus and our faith in my everyday actions. So I try and be kind and patient and forgiving and understanding, and that's me using my knowledge of my faith and my knowledge of Jesus and how Jesus would want me to live in my life.
So what does knowledge make you think of? Knowledge makes me think of when we store things in our brain and the things we know, and how we can use Jesus' knowledge to learn how to be a good example.
How have you used knowledge in your life?
I've used my knowledge about Jesus to go out and help my family when they needed it, or anyone with the knowledge I have of Jesus and what he did.
Kayla, what does knowledge mean to you?
Knowledge means to me When I learn new stuff at school.
When have you used knowledge in your life?
I've used my knowledge to teach other people things.
Jesus is the perfect example of how to live our lives. There is an example in the Bible of Jesus understanding how important learning and knowledge is. This week's scripture is taken from the Holy Gospel according to Luke chapter 2, verses 41 to 52.
Jesus grew up in the home of Mary and Joseph. Joseph was a carpenter, and it is likely that Jesus would have helped him sometimes. This means that he would have learned how to use different tools and how to make things out of wood. Jesus also spent some time at school. The sort of school he would have gone to would have been run in the local temple or synagogue, which is a Jewish church building. The teachers would have explained about reading, writing, and God to the children who were there. Jesus would have gone to this sort of school, like many other children, and made the most of his chance to learn and gain knowledge.
Once a year, all the people in Jesus' village went to Jerusalem for a few days for a special celebration. Mary and Joseph took Jesus and they all had a good time. As they were on the way home, Mary suddenly realised that Jesus was not with her, so she asked Joseph if he had seen the boy. Joseph couldn't see him anywhere and suggested that they should go back to Jerusalem to find him. Mary and Joseph worried about Jesus as they rushed back to the city. They wondered where he could be. They started to search the rooms where they had stayed and the roads nearby. Eventually, they decided to have a rest in the temple, the huge synagogue at the heart of the city. As they entered the building, they spotted Jesus sitting there on the floor talking to the priests. He was working hard to deepen his knowledge. The priests were really impressed with the knowledge that Jesus had and his eagerness to learn more. As Mary and Joseph set off back home with Jesus, they asked him why he had been there. "Didn't you realize that I would be there in God's house learning more about God?" he said.
How does this scripture link to the word knowledge? We can learn a lot from this gospel story. This gospel story clearly shows that Jesus worked hard and was eager to learn and gain more and more knowledge.
It also showed us that Jesus thought it was very important to learn about God as well as reading, writing and other subjects. This gospel story reminds us of what a wonderful example Jesus is for us. It inspires us to develop our knowledge because if Jesus, the Son of God, could take the time to learn and build his knowledge, then so can we.
How does knowledge link to our mission statement? If we have the knowledge that we should always trust in God and follow the plan He has for us, we can help all those that we meet today by sharing our knowledge with them and spreading the good news. This will allow us to create a better tomorrow as future generations will be filled with knowledge to use, develop and share. To reflect on the word this week, we will pray the Knowledge of Jesus prayer. You will need pens or pencils, a large poster with the word Jesus on it, post-it notes and some paint. Think of what you would say if you were going to share some of your knowledge about Jesus to a friend. Write or draw it on a post-it note. When you have done this, stick the post-it note around the poster.
After everyone has done this, take it in turns to share what you have written or drawn. Then use the paint to add a fingerprint inside the word Jesus on the poster to show that you have gained some knowledge about Jesus from other members of your class. When the poster is complete, it can be displayed on your prayer area in your class.
Your mission this week is to keep striving to gain new knowledge.
Don't forget that it is good to ask questions and learn as much as you can.
Each day remember the words of Proverbs 19. Do yourself a favour and learn all you can. Then remember what you learn and you will prosper.